What is going on, guys? Carter here with Edge Mindset. Thank you for hanging out with me. We're talking about a Rike knife. This is the S05 V2. Little background on this. I actually got it in today, and I tried to shoot an unboxing on it. And my whole point of the unboxing was I was going to talk some crap on this knife because I regretted buying it, and I was going to do this whole speech about this style of knife. This price point is like the bane of my existence because I buy them too easily, and I accumulate a bunch, and they're hard to sell and recoup money on, and I just hate it. And I was going to talk all this crap. And then I opened it up and checked it out, and I actually really like this knife so far. And I had to scrap that video, and we're starting over. But what we will do, we will show you the box. Here's the box. Rike knives, right? I just opened it up. It comes with your normal zippered pouch right here with your card and your sticker. Not very cool. Kind of a lame sticker. Kind of looks like a, something you'd see at Kmart on clearance or something like that, if anybody knows what Kmart is anymore. But let's talk about the knife here. So this is the S05 V2. And I think I know where the V2 really comes in. But let's talk about what we're dealing with here. Here it is next to the polar opposite of it. This is a CQC7. You can see it's actually somewhat comparable in terms of overall size. The S05 is a little bit longer, but not all that different. Thinner handle, about the same blade stock-ish, give or take. Let's do some measurements on here. I believe it's like 3.5, 3.6, somewhere around there. Yeah, 3.6. Overall length is like 8 1/4. Weight on this bad boy, I'm going to say is 5.2 ounces. That's going to be my guess. 4.6. I was way off. We've got M390 steel. It is not compound ground, but it does have a cool recurve right here. I really love this blade shape. Almost like a trailing point. You can see this tip, or maybe it is a trailing point. This tip kind of comes up above the pivot here. We got a nice curved Bowie-like swedge at the top. Really looks nice. Bead blasted onto the bevels there. And then we've got satin flats, but they're machined satin flats, which I really like the way that looks. Speaking of Emerson, this looks a lot like custom Emersons on their flats. Kind of look like this as well. We've got this cross motif everywhere, but it's not like a Christian cross. It's just like a plus mark type cross. But it does kind of, at least for me, it did feel very like medieval Knights of the Templar knives kind of inspired, even though technically it doesn't really have anything directly indicative of that. But that's kind of the feel it gave me the first time I saw it. It reminded me of like the Knights Templar or something like that. We've got some very cool design things going on, like this mirrored half circle disc cut out here. One is used for the opening hole, and you can see it's actually chamfered on the inside there, which is really cool. Look at this aggressive jimping on the top. Very nice. That like locks you in so good. It feels really nice. Might be a little aggressive for some people, but I think it's cool. Bronzed handle here. It comes in a few different finishes. Now this has a very rough like stonewash on it. The first time I saw it, I almost thought that maybe it was like marks or something, but it's intentional. Obviously, it's all over the place. Looks kind of cool, and I assume this is anodization, but I don't know. It's very chocolate brownie. It doesn't really look bronze, so maybe it's a PVD? Maybe. Might be a PVD, actually. Huge lock bar insert. Looks very cool. There's the lockup right there. It is rock solid. Doesn't budge at all. Running on bearings. Another cool detail is we've got Mokutai in the pivot there, I assume, unless that's anodization made to mimic it, but it really looks like you've got different layers in there. And then this side looks like it's just anodized purple blue. Same with the titanium hardware here. Got a nice Mokutai clip with some lines in it right there. Now I know one of the complaints that people had on the V1 of this was the pocket clip and how hard it was to get into the pocket, because I don't think they had this. See that sliver of carbon fiber right there? I don't think that was on the original version, and you just had this kind of cavern that the clip would sit in and actually sink into a little bit. And I believe what they've done, don't quote me on this, but based on the videos I've seen of the V1, I think they've added this carbon fiber inlay right there to give the pocket clip something to sit on so that you now have way better access to it and can get it in your pocket, which is very, very cool. Carry is about here, so medium, not super deep, but not deep. Flipper tab right there, fires pretty well. I will say the action is not as good as it could be. This is just kind of first impressions. I can't quite figure out why, because it feels very crisp. It's obviously drop shutty, but especially with the reverse flick, it just doesn't have that. Maybe it's the position. It feels soft. It feels like I could actually mess up the reverse flick. I don't think I can, but it just doesn't feel as confident as I would expect with a knife like this. It doesn't fly open, and I can't figure out exactly why, but the flipper tab works very, very well. You've got some jimping on the back there, which is a nice, nice touch. It's nice and high up on this pivot here, so you got lots of leverage. Very, very cool. Ergonomics are fantastic. It has this kind of tapered handle type feel to it that just melts right into the hand. It feels like a little big knife. Like it's not a super big knife, but I don't know. It kind of feels like it when it's in your hand right here. What else we got going on? Oh, maybe the Backspacer. Look at this thing. Mokutai in the center. Copper. Sandwiched in between copper. I believe that's copper. Some people said maybe it's anodized titanium. I think that's copper. And then it's got this cool floating piece that comes out the back here with a lanyard hole through that. How cool. Let's get a closer look at that. How cool is that concept to have that floating tail and then have the lanyard hole go through the floating tail with kind of the pig nose going on here. Very, very cool way to do a lanyard hole that isn't like visible, but still very functional. That is just awesome. I wanted to hate this knife. Oh, by the way, I bought this with my own money. I can't remember if I said that on this version of the video. I bought this from White Mountain Knives. I used their discount code, their generic one that they let anybody use. And I just bought this thing. I had my eye on it for a while. It always kind of caught my attention, but you know, it's just one of those knives where I love the design, and I knew it would be made well. Rike makes a really good knife. They did the collaborations with Microtech. They do really, really good work, but it just didn't have any, story behind it. And, you can only collect so many knives that are great knives until you kind of want something more. But after handling it so far, I am really glad that I picked this one up because it is cool. I love that aggressive blade shape right there. Everything is finished really, really nice. This chocolatey brown color is excellent. So many cool design choices. It's busy and interesting enough, but not overkill in my opinion. And, yours may vary. Some people may say this is too much. There's a lot going on, but for me, it's just enough to kind of keep my attention. And the ergos on this thing are fantastic. So I guess if you are contemplating picking up an S05 V2, I would say just do it. It's a good one so far. It's done really, really well. This recurve is super functional. Look at all of this belly you have here. You've got a nice tip to work with, but then you can trap some material in that recurve, or if you just want to appreciate how cool it looks, you can do that as well. All right, guys, comment down below. What do you think of the S05? I like it. Talk to you guys later.